It's the Redirect Podcast, search industry research, discussion, and analysis from the Black Truck Media and Marketing Headquarters. And now, redirecting you to the Black Truck team.
Welcome to episode 36 of the Redirect Podcast. It is Friday, March 2nd, 2018. I'm Jason Dodge, founder of Black Truck Media and Marketing. Welcome this week by Patrick from the Black Truck team. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, what's going on?
It's just us. We have a variety of people in and out this week. So you and I were tag teaming this episode of the Redirect, and without fail, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of different things moving and shaking in our industry. I think marketing in general, there's a lot that moves, but certainly in the digital space, search is this constant moving target. And so I say let's get to it. I'll go ahead and take lead and let's start discussing. So interesting. Anymore, I think we've talked immensely about it before here internally. We've talked about it with clients and stuff too. Is that anymore we're all very much programmed to go to Google when we have a question. We're seeking an answer for a problem. Google's grown to much more of an answer engine in the past 5-7 years. And I think Bing could probably be even thrown into that too. Search in general has grown into this answer engine, less about just a search engine, more about an answer engine and how it's ingrained in our daily lives. So recently Google announced that they are delivering more comprehensive results to questions that are taking place in search.
Like a snippet? Like a featured snippet?
Yeah. Much larger than that. What they're calling multifaceted featured snippets. I haven't personally seen them in the wild yet, but based on what I've read that Google has produced, we'll link to their official blog post on it, and they've got some really great screenshots and screen shares in there. You can really gather that if you have any previous history with either not just featured snippets, but the people also search for features and functions that we see. Kind of usually they're baked in, like in the middle of the SERPs. I really think that's probably derived from that. Is that with the advancements in machine learning that Google has, they're actually able to better interpret the intent behind what the query is better than they ever have been before. So think about one example that Google throws out here is that they use the example search of I do a search for garden needs full sun. What they're saying is Google is able to recognize that it could be interpreted as what garden plants need full sun or what counts as full sun. And they'll offer those up as additional featured snippets. They'll offer up the featured snippets for both of those. So I'm taking that as you do a search for garden needs full sun, and where traditionally we would see that as the people also search for the suggested searches that come up. They're taking those and the most relevant, they're pulling up into these additional featured snippet streams, and providing the details right there. So if I say garden needs full sun, they're interpreting what my intent is, and the featured snippets that they're showing are exactly what garden plants need full sun, what counts as full sun. Then seen below that even more is the people also ask, which is where this is very much derived from what potted plants like full sun, what plants do well in full sun. It really goes off of that discussion that we've had before about when you're writing for a featured snippet opportunity, if you think that you have that and you can go after it, what we know as position 0 is really, are you answering all the questions? Are you being extremely helpful? So in this case, you can't just say, my garden needs full sun. Well, that's great. What are you growing in your garden, Pat?
Right.
So how do I expand that? The other thing they kind of went more in depth on was they deep dived on what they call several type of nuanced queries. So where more comprehensive results or responses might be helpful to the searcher.
Is that a Google way of saying a gray area?
Yeah, I mean, no, what they're calling nuanced queries beyond, their nuanced queries are beyond what Google coins as multi-intent queries. So how, they're saying like guidance-seeking queries. Like, is it worth fixing my foundation? Which very much is a natural language. You could see how that might be derived from a voice search.
Right.
So, Google, is it worth fixing my foundation? There's a lot of components that come with it. Cost, duration of time to fix my foundation, methods, financing. The multifaceted is something they don't have fully fleshed out yet. It's one of those things that they said basically they're gonna start to roll it out. And over the course of this year, they're going to expand coverage. So I think it goes back to, and I overheard a conversation that you and had today was, we know featured snippet is one of the most volatile moving pieces right now. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want to expand on that and just kind of think about the conversation you had today.
Right, yeah, speaking of the client today and through it's a client it's another agency that we partner with.
Yep.
And they were speaking to one of their clients that we don't currently work with. And that client of theirs said they have a tool that they use that tells them how to get a featured snippet and what they need to do for that featured snippet. And my pushback was that there's a lot of data out there to show tips and tricks and how there's an opportunity for you to increase your odds to get the featured snippet, but there's no surefire steps to get. Right. And the same thing, so that it's the competition is ever increasing. The same way that you want to compete for position 1, you're competing for position 0, especially in a popular subject area where there's opportunity to have multiple players in that field, big players in that field. You're going to be competing for that position 0 very aggressively, more so than you would even for position 1.
And I think to build on that too, case in point of someone, so you have someone who's asking and talking about, and this could be whether your agency side or in-house, somebody's talking about, hey, what's this featured snippet deal? How do we go after it? Should we go after it? I think asking that, should we go after it, is the important question. And then what are we going to do after we land that? Because what's the value in owning the featured spot?
Yeah.
So even with voice search, if you did a search for that, okay, it's going to say, okay, according to, or source I found, but you as a consumer, does that necessarily mean that you're going to click through, or you're going to try and, you're going to try and prompt Google to take action, what is known as the action step, to go ahead and take that next step to actually go to that page and to actually visit it. So like in previous discussions we've had here on the redirect and content that we've produced is very much of the featured snippet is nice, but it's also designed to keep people in Google, which is great, but it doesn't drive traffic to your site.
Right.
It doesn't increase organic traffic to your site. So you can own all the featured snippets that you want. Now I know that we can argue all day long the other way that it does increase and it does impact, but let's say you had something that was not transactional, that nothing prompted a user to click on it, especially in a voice search.
Right.
Is there value?
What is the value? Yeah, if you look at, for me personally, I'd say 9 out of the 10 featured snippets I see, the result is Wikipedia, which isn't necessarily the first result on the page. And of those 9 Wikipedia results, I'd say 7 or 8 of them, I don't click through to the site. I got what I needed out of the snippet without clicking through into Wikipedia.
Yeah.
What is Wikipedia getting out of that? What is any company getting out of that if there isn't a direct commerce or conversion or data collection from that featured snippet?
It's always that. It's the action step. What's happening afterwards that we always talk about. So no, that's really good. Well, you we're gonna I think flip a little bit 180 here, and you had you alluded to earlier about talking about attribution.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, we were playing with attribution in the office here a little bit throughout the last 2 weeks. I wanted to actually start a segment, a promise I made last week to follow up about Keyword Planner. The
Oh,
changes.
yeah.
Yeah, so in the new Keyword Planner tool that Google just reformatted for AdWords, they added a couple different organic metrics that you can track in the keyword suggestion area. And I had just activated syncing AdWords with Search Console, so data wasn't available yet.
Okay.
I did this for 2 clients that specific industries. Flooring was one industry, and the other one was garment rental.
Okay.
And 1 week later, neither of the organic data had populated still. So I don't know if it is a lack of search data or if it is a connectivity issue.
Okay.
So stand by for further data as we progress. Attribution. So things that we've been playing with here on the PPC side of things is who's getting the credit. Where does that credit come from?
Yep.
And Google defaults a lot of their conversion data points to last click. A lot of conversions don't happen in the first click, the first visit to a site. If I'm shopping for not a everyday product, let's say a boat or a car or a large piece of machinery, I'm going to do my research. I'm going to do a search. I'm going to find you. Maybe I click on you through an ad, but it might take 5 visits to the site. And on that 5th and last visit, I got you through either a bookmark link or a note I kept somewhere. I clicked on a hyperlink or just an organic search. That organic search gets the win, not that initial first click that introduced you. And that's the last click model.
I'm not saying there isn't value in that. We're
Right.
just saying it's not maybe telling the full story of the path to get to conversion.
Correct. So we've been toying with a time decay or a last click model. We've been exploring that a little bit.
Time decay, we use time decay. We're exploring more time decay. Last click is a default, more first click too. I think.
Sorry,
first
first click. I misspoke there. First click is there's no nuts or bolts about it. You know where it's coming from on that first one. 100% of the credit is given to the first touch point, whereas on a time decay, as it moves down the line through, if it's you're set at 30 to 45 days in that range, it can track where you moved and
within
how you
that conversion window.
Within that conversion window, and it will break your conversion down to different percentages. Like, okay, majority of this conversion came from that initial point. I can't speak fluidly on what that looks like yet, because on the models that I've set that up on with the
there's not enough data there to tell you.
Yeah, where the accounts that I monitor on, I don't have enough data to get results on it yet. I stumbled through some articles today that led me down a path a year ago that Google is starting to move away from last click as a default, and it's in the last year they're really focusing on attribution and getting those wins to the right places. It's that the meme, give me all the things, I want all the data. So we're focusing on taking it deeper and going several layers down in to really track what we see as wins, so we can then report it back to our clients. So they can, maybe ROI isn't the right phrase, and maybe we're not talking about making sure that we're getting, as marketers, the credit we deserve for the results the client is seeing, but it makes everybody smarter.
And I think to add to that too, because even if you're a novice, or even if you've been in the digital marketing space for a while, doing AdWords analytics, it's the common approach was import analytics conversion data into AdWords. So use site-side conversion data in AdWords for reporting. The problem there is it's last click attribution default in Google Analytics. Now they're making some changes and things are becoming a little bit more robust in terms of their attribution capabilities, but it's still largely centered around more like single click device. So it's not quite there yet. So You have to do a little bit more modifying to get it to do what you need it to do.
There's definitely a learning curve.
Yep. Now on using the conversion tracking internal of AdWords, the nice thing there is that you can track the conversions that are happening from the campaign level and ad group level and keyword level. But then let's say you set up a goal or conversion on the site as well. You can look at them independently of one another, like when you're running a report, and easily make that correlation. If I generate 30 lead gen forms on a site. So I'm looking at analytics and my goal is lead gen form complete. Mm-hmm. I generate 30 of those. And then in AdWords, I can look and say, oh, we generated 20 lead gen conversions. It's pretty easy to make that correlation
right.
and do the math to be able to display that properly. The nice thing is that you have the better attribution models available to you immediately right now within AdWords. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And there's other great conversion points too. I think we talked about them in previous episodes too. Is calls from ads is one step, but deploying calls on the website from ads too, I think is an often overlooked item, and we've deployed it many times, even as of recently. So I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Was there any indication? Have you read anything with the changes that are going to come within the attribution models changing? For I know there's a lot more that's offered in like the Google Analytics 360 suite.
Yeah, the 360 suite is tough. That's their paid model.
Yeah, it's like what, $100,000 or something a year.
The volume that you need on it in order to track data, it's something like, I had that right here. Where did it go? In order to get that properly filled with data, you need at least 15,000 clicks and at least 600 conversions in 30 days.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you've got to be moving.
So you're looking at enterprise level at big ticket item sites. Mm-hmm. So that's I guess why they call it the enterprise level model.
Right.
But yeah, so there's definitely some changes coming down. There's just the chatter is increasing about attribution models. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily any. Google doesn't like to give dates on when things are going to happen. They say we're looking at. And, go beta for 3 years.
No, because it even goes back to, I've got a great article here that we'll link to that talks about basically what search marketers need to know about Google attribution. This was written last May on Search Engine Land. It does a really good job about what is attribution in Google, what problems does attribution aim to solve, how is it different from attribution in AdWords. You can see how it's trying to align those more, perhaps.
I found a similar article dated late May of 17 from Marketing Land. So I think that there was an announcement.
The same.
Yeah, there was an announcement made at a conference that month that it works with news. It was passed around from different sites. I'd like to read that article that you found too.
I think the ultimate win, at least from our contacts at Google that we talked to on attribution, the ultimate direction to go is a data-driven model.
Yes.
Right. So you're capturing all the touch points involved in the conversion, and then assigning credit to one or some or all of those steps, more accurately reflects what the impact it had on their purchase decision or their conversion decision. It's just that's trying to get more in line with that data-driven process. But even that, what Google's employing is machine learning to understand what those touch points are, the likelihood of the conversion. But you have to have actually a considerable amount of conversions happening.
Yes.
Really great for e-commerce players and stuff to go to a data attribution model. But I think the easy one is to make the switches to a time decay. And there are articles out there that will tell you the pros and cons of each one of those, and that a time decay model favors the advertiser. Well, it does it or does it not? To me, there's lost data in there if you're on the last click model regardless. So you need to start somewhere and head down that path.
It would be interesting to take two similar types of goals and do a first click and then a time decay.
Totally.
And see the difference on those.
Mm-hmm. On that note, something we noticed this week too, as we were doing a lot of changes and conversions, kind of that first part of the month and reevaluating a bunch of things, is we use Google Tag Manager, as do a lot of other people, for firing conversions, tracking pixels, things like that. When you're setting up a conversion, even up to last week, if you were using GTM Tag Manager, you had to go at the snippet, the code snippet that the conversion code that was given to you in AdWords was created. You had to find the conversion ID and the conversion label to plug it into GTM. Now, AdWords team has made it much easier, and the tag setup process, it says, do you want to install the tag yourself? Here's that raw code.
Right.
Or do you want to use Google Tag Manager? And when you click that tab, it calls it right out. Copy the conversion ID, copy the conversion label, drop them in, and it makes that process much, much easier. I mean, the only next step from there would be it to auto integrate into GTM.
When I first started reading about Tag Manager 2.5 years ago, it was pretty intimidating to me. Maybe I was a little green under the hood, and or it was just legitimately confusing, a whole new avenue to learn. Every day that's gone by, it seems like it's getting easier and easier. And one of my personal goals for my professional year was to get heavily involved with Tag Manager, because that's the way it's moving. And it's getting easier. Tag Manager is getting easier and easier for anyone to use. And if you're not heading in a model that direction, you really need to get on that bandwagon.
Yep. I think that's right. I mean, more and more the gold standard process I know for us is, if it's not set up, we're going to set it up, and we have that down to a pretty efficient move. Depending on the developer skill set, that's a pretty quick change. 10 minutes to a half hour, depending on the site and the templates and things. But it's pretty quick. So, anyways, these things are certainly everything that we talked about. Both on the attribution side, I think, is going to impact primarily your paid media types accounts, right, is what we talked about. On the changes in multifaceted featured snippets, which is a mouthful, that's going to impact what you're doing definitely on a content side, as well as an SEO front, and how I'm anxious to see still how ads are going to be served up within these types of search queries too.
It's got to.
That's probably why we've seen this push in the AdWords world for a more modified broad match approach, trying to keep a cost per click down while still being open to some of those questions and doing data mining and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see where things go on that. So. On a closing note, I did read a really good article to kind of follow up on some of the voice search stuff that we did. We'll make sure we link to a deeper dive into voice search rankings. So the team at Backlinko did a pretty extensive analysis of voice search ranking. And what they found, no doubt, was in line with pretty much everything that we've read before. But there were some interesting tidbits that kind of jumped out that were probably different from other things that you'll read in terms of ranking factor in a voice search world. So big things, and I think Cindy talked about these on a previous episode when she talked about the mobile first index, was page speed is definitely going to be a significant factor. I mean, faster loading pages, more mobile friendly.
Yeah, I actually almost spoke about that today. I had a wormhole of research going on earlier, and I was like,
on performance metrics.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Is a lot of this is like what I see here is performance factors and more technical data. So authoritative domains for results. But not pages as much. So domain authority versus page authority. Is the domain as a whole more authoritative? That's a deal. Content that ranks well on desktop tends to rank in voice search. Search Engine Land said, is this a correlation rather than is it correlation versus causation? Right? Schema may not be a factor. and I think, you need to keep structured data in mind regardless moving forward. And they said 41% of voice searches came from featured snippets. I would have expected that to be higher.
I would too.
But what's the percentage of featured snippets that show up in a search query anyways right now?
Right,
I
good
don't,
point.
And then voice search results are generally 29 words. However, Google sources voice results from long-form content. Take that for what you will. And then HTTPS is critical.
Yeah.
Meaning, keep in mind, it's a Google world. Google's going to give this data back. If you are not a secure source, they're going to be cautious of that because a user is going to be cautious of that. Why would they give you unsecure data?
Yep.
So keep those things in mind as you're still navigating the world of mobile. And
I've been seeing more and more clicks on big red screen that says "Take me back to safety."
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's popped up 3 times for me doing some investment research. And I keep getting these random big red screen of death. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Is this new or is this legit a bad page?
No, certainly the financial institutions are going to be under the gun on that.
Yeah,
Financial,
for sure.
Healthcare, insurance, that type of thing. So, no, this is good discussion. I love the topic of attribution. If you're running AdWords and you're still in a last click model, certainly start to look at that. Don't get me started on how Facebook's going to handle attribution. That's a whole other topic of discussion. Keep an eye out for these more comprehensive results as it relates to question type queries. The people also search for or what they call the more related search queries that come up. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes and how we can potentially measure it as well.
So measure all the things.
Absolutely. All right. Until next time, good luck.
This has been the Redirect Podcast. Check out the show notes at blacktruckmedia.com and add us on iTunes and Stitcher.